The Galactic Council had existed for 12,000 years before humanity crawled out of their small blue planet and stumbled into the stars. The Council was made of 217 species, each one ancient, each one proud, and each one absolutely certain that these new creatures called humans were nothing special. Ambassador stood before the massive circular chamber, surrounded by beings that looked like nightmares and dreams mixed together. Some had scales that shimmered like oil on water. Others floated in gravity bubbles, their bodies too fragile for normal air. A few resembled giant insects, clicking their mandibles in what passed for laughter among their kind. She had been standing there for 6 hours. Her legs ached. Her throat was dry. But she kept her face calm, kept her voice steady, because that was what humans did. They endured. "The fleet has destroyed another human colony," she said for the third time that day. 17 million people. Gone. We ask again for the Council to intervene. The High Speaker, a creature that looked like a tree had mated with a spider, waved one of its many limbs dismissively. "The claim the colony was built on sacred ground. Perhaps your species should have asked permission before expanding." Felt her jaw tighten. "We did ask, we submitted the proper forms, the Council approved the location." "Paperwork can be lost," the High Speaker said. There was amusement in its voice. "Your species is still young. Perhaps you should learn to be more careful." This had been happening for 50 years. Every time humanity expanded, someone pushed back. Every time humans were killed, the Council found an excuse. They were just the latest in a long line of species that had learned they could hurt humanity without consequence. Looked around the chamber at the ancient faces watching her with boredom or contempt. She thought about the messages she had received that morning. The crying families, the children asking where their parents had gone, the old woman who had lost her entire extended family of 43 people in a single flash of weapons. "This is the 18th attack in 10 years, said quietly. "We have lost over 400 million citizens. We have filed 6,000 formal complaints. We have followed every rule, respected every law, and done everything you have asked of us." The High Speaker made a sound like rustling leaves. "And yet you keep having problems. Perhaps the fault lies with your species, Ambassador. The galaxy was peaceful before you arrived." Something shifted in its eyes. The other ambassadors noticed. A few of the older ones, species who had been watching the galaxy for millions of years, felt a strange chill run through their bodies. "I see," said. Her voice was different now, colder. "Then humanity formally withdraws its request for Council intervention." The High Speaker seemed pleased. "A wise decision. Now, the next matter on our agenda involves trade routes in the Andromeda sector. Ambassador, you may leave." "Did not move. I am not finished." The chamber went quiet. No species spoke to the High Speaker that way. The guards, massive creatures covered in natural armor, shifted their weight and reached for their weapons. "Humanity has been patient," continued. "We have been so very patient. We came to the stars hopping to make friends. We wanted to learn from you. We wanted to share our art, our music, our stories. We thought that if we just followed the rules, if we just showed you we meant no harm, you would eventually accept us." She took a deep breath. "We were wrong." Reached into her pocket and pulled out a small device. She pressed a button. Behind her, a holographic display came to life, showing something that made every ambassador in the chamber freeze. It was a map of the galaxy, and spreading across that map like blood through water was a red stain that grew larger with every passing second. "For 50 years, while you dismissed us and mocked us and let your allies slaughter our people, we were not idle," said. "We built, we researched, we prepared, because we knew that one day your patience for our existence would run out. So we made sure that when that day came, we would be ready." The High Speaker rose from its seat, its many legs trembling. "What is this? What have you done?" "Nothing yet," replied, "but let me show you what we can do." The map zoomed in on a star system. The home system. 7 planets, 3 billion citizens, the heart of the empire that had just killed 17 million humans. At this moment, there are 4,000 human warships surrounding Prime, said. They arrived through jump points we developed in secret. Jump points that your scientists said were theoretically impossible. We have been very busy while you were busy ignoring us. The ambassador, a serpentine creature with 4 arms, screamed in rage and lunged toward. Before it could take 2 steps, a beam of light shot down from nowhere and vaporized it where it stood. The chamber erupted in chaos. "Sit down," said, and her voice carried over the screaming and shouting with a calm that was somehow more terrifying than any threat. "All of you, sit down." They sat, every single one of them, because they had finally realized something that they should have understood 50 years ago. Humans were not prey. They had never been prey. They had simply been waiting. "We do not want war," said, and there was genuine sadness in her voice. "We never wanted war. We wanted to join your community, to be your partners, to build something beautiful together. But you made that impossible. Every olive branch we extended, you burned. Every hand of friendship we offered, you slapped away. You called us children. You called us primitives. You let species murder us for sport and told us it was our fault for being weak." She walked slowly toward the high speaker's platform. "So now I am going to tell you what happens next, and you are going to listen very carefully because I am only going to say this once." The chamber was silent, could hear her own heartbeat. "They have 12 hours to surrender unconditionally. If they do not, there will be destroyed. Not conquered, not occupied, destroyed. Every man, woman, and child. Every building, every monument, every trace that they ever existed. We will turn their planet into ash, and then we will do the same to every colony they have ever established." "You cannot," the High Speaker whispered. "The Council will not allow this. There are rules, there are laws." Laughed. It was not a happy sound. "Rules, laws. Those were the things you told us to follow while you let us die. Those were the chains you put around our necks while your allies sharpened their knives. You do not get to hide behind rules now, not after everything you have done." She turned to face the entire chamber. "And make no mistake, this is not just about the. This is about all of you. Every species that voted against helping us. Every ambassador who laughed at our suffering. Every government that turned a blind eye while our people were slaughtered." The map changed again. Now it showed red dots scattered across the entire galaxy. Thousands of them, tens of thousands. "Those are our fleets," said. "Hidden in the dark spaces between stars, waiting. We have had 50 years to build them, 50 years to position them, 50 years to plan for this exact moment. Every species in this chamber is now within range of our weapons." A small creature near the back, something that looked like a floating jellyfish, raised one of its tentacles. "What do you want? What are your demands?" Considered the question. "That is the right question to ask, thank you." She pulled up another display. "These are our terms. First, they will pay reparations for every human life they have taken. The amount will be calculated by our accountants, but I assure you it will be significant. Second, any species that has attacked human civilians will face similar demands. Third, humanity will be granted full membership in the Galactic Council with voting rights equal to the oldest members. Fourth, the Council will establish a new peacekeeping force with human commanders. And fifth." She paused, looking around at the terrified faces. "Fifth, you will treat us with respect, not because we are young, not because we are few, but because we are human, and as you have just learned, that means something." The High Speaker found its voice. "And if we refuse?" Smiled. It was the smile of someone who had already won and was simply waiting for everyone else to realize it. "Then we will do to you what you have been doing to us for 50 years. We will ignore your cries for help. We will dismiss your suffering as unimportant. We will stand by while your people die and tell you that perhaps you should have been more careful." She walked back toward her original position. But unlike you, we will not stop there. We will not be satisfied with mere cruelty. We will end you, completely, permanently. We will leave nothing behind but ash and memory, and eventually even the memory will fade. The chamber was so quiet that could hear the humming of the life support systems. You have 1 hour to accept our terms, she said. Use that time wisely. She turned and walked toward the exit. At the door, she paused and looked back over her shoulder. One more thing. Some of you are probably thinking that you can wait us out, that we are bluffing, that surely no species would actually commit such terrible acts. She shook her head slowly. You made us into this. You took a species that wanted nothing but peace, and you beat us and broke us and killed us until we had no choice but to become something else. So when you are deciding whether to call our bluff, remember this. We learned everything we know about cruelty from you. Ambassador walked out of the Galactic Council chamber and did not look back. Behind her, 216 species began talking very quickly and very nervously. Within 30 minutes, they had agreed to humanity's terms. Within an hour, they had surrendered unconditionally. And across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. Humanity, the young species, the newcomers, the ones everyone had dismissed and mocked and abused, had finally stood up. They had not asked for permission. They had not begged for mercy. They had simply shown the galaxy what they were capable of and demanded to be treated fairly. Some species were terrified. Others were impressed. A few, those who had also suffered under the Council's negligence, were quietly grateful. But every single one of them, from the smallest microbial colony to the greatest stellar empire, remembered that day for the rest of their existence. They remembered the moment when humanity's patience finally snapped. They remembered, and they were careful never to test it again.